Hi everyone, it's Janis from the Indianola Public Library. I'm back with crafts again. Hooray! We're going to do a craft video on the first Monday of every month, and then we're going to do a snack video on the third Monday, because you know how I like the snack crafts. So be watching for those. Today we are going to make scented I almost referred to them as scratch and sniff. They're not actually scratch and sniff. They're just scented paints, but they're super duper easy. And they actually really do smell even after they've dried, which is pretty cool. We're going to use stuff that you can find at home. I kind of rated my spice cabinet, so use what you have. You don't have to go out and buy something special. So we're just going to get started. I have 1 cup of just plain water. Cold water's best because we're going to put flour and cornstarch in there, so use the cold water. And then I'm going to put in, this is flour, I'm going to put in about a 1/4 cup, maybe a little bit longer because mine was kind of thin. My samples were kind of thin the first time, so I'm going to put a little bit more flour in this time just to thicken it up a little bit. Glop. And then you're going to have to get the chunks out, but that's okay. So about a 1/4 cup, maybe up to 1/3 of a cup of flour, and then about maybe 1½ ounces. So I don't know what that is in cups. Couple tablespoons of cornstarch. So we'll put that in there too, and that helps thicken it up too. And then I'm going to get my fork out. And if you have a whisk would work great. I didn't have one, so I have to stir it up with the fork here. It takes a little while with a fork because it's chunky and the fork doesn't whisk it quite as well. So give me just a second here as I stir this up and get some of those chunks out. Then I'll squish some of the chunks up against the edges, just the big ones. You don't want big chunks in your paint. But it does go together pretty well. It does separate. I noticed it'll separate a little bit once you've got it, once you're using it as paint, but just give it a stir and it goes right back. All right, that is probably good enough for our purposes. And then you're going to want, I'm using 4 different colors and 4 different scents. You know, whatever you have. It does make a lot and it goes a long way. So I'm just going to separate it out. And yeah, I'm going to end up with a little extra, but that's okay. Yeah, there's probably enough there for 5 cups of that size. So now we're going to find our scents. If you wanted to do like fall scents, you could go with cinnamon and nutmeg and all the kind of stuff that are, you know, pie flavors and pie scents. I didn't have a whole bunch of that. I just had cinnamon, some nutmeg. You could use cloves. I just couldn't find mine. And then I found some thyme. You could use rosemary or basil or something, you know, that smells kind of green. That's what I like it for. And then I found some peppermint extract. So that's what I'm using. Do be careful when if you're using peppermint, because a little bit goes a long way. It kind of overpowers it. So just use what you have, find what you have in your spice cabinet, you know, rate it and see what you think smells good, because that's all you're looking for. So I'm just gonna put some of these in, and I probably won't do all of them, but just find, this is nutmeg, and it smells so good. It smells like fall. So just kind of put some in there. It's gonna look like it's gonna be chunky. It's not, I mean, there'll be some little chunks, but don't worry about it. So you're just going to stir that in. And again, you know, a whisk could be great, but in a little cup like this, that gets a little tough unless you have a super cool little tiny whisk. Just mix it in as well as you can. I did notice when I did the cinnamon earlier, that was the toughest one to get mixed in. I don't know why, but it took a little bit longer. All right, now I don't know if you can see that. You can see that it's got chunks. It looks kind of milky and weird, and it's got those chunks in there, but that's okay, because we're gonna put some food coloring in. I am gonna use yellow for my nutmeg. And use just, as much as you want. If you start small and it's not as bright as you want, then just add a little bit more. That'll be okay though. And then you can paint it with paintbrushes, you can use sponges, you can, because it's actually pretty thin, you could do like blow monsters or something, so you dribble it on there and then blow it, and it would kind of spatter a little bit. I'm such an artist, I made this one earlier, and it still smells, which is awesome. So I used peppermint for my blue, and like I said, go easy with the peppermint scent, the imitation peppermint, because it really does go a long way. I can smell, until I get close, all I can smell is the peppermint. So I used peppermint, I used nutmeg, I used cinnamon, and then this was the thyme, because I thought it smelled kind of grassy. So that is what I did. So, and like I said, see, you can see this is kind of separating. So all you need to do is give it a stir. This one is a little bit too. Just give it a stir as you're using it, and it'll mix right back up again. And then paint, let it dry. It still smells really good. Give it a try. I would love to see what you do. So if you take a picture of what you've done, let me know how it turns out. And we will see you later. Bye.